boom, chicka cha. Booda boom, chicka cha. Check it out. It's Ben, who loves games in space. With the subtitle, What to Play for a Space Game. So, what do I play for a space game? Right now I'm doing my time at Porsche for, I don't know what to call it. It's just the first game that came to mind. So, but it's kind of a factory game. It's not really a survival game. It's like an RPG factory game. I'm still really liking it. I think it's going to turn out great. I don't know how long I can keep doing it because there's a lot of game to play. But I'm enjoying it. But I would like to get into a space game for one of the 3 other games that I would like to play. The other 2 being a survival game and a farming game. So let's go over these guys. Astroneer. So Astroneer is a space game, but it's mostly an explorative. It's not really puzzle. It's not really puzzly. But there are certain weird things that you have to unlock some things. There's a lot of progression done through action, which is nice. And I really do like the game. It's just that there's no space. It's like there's planets. You're in a solar system with 7 planets. You start on the most Earth-like planet with very little hazards to it. Falling is your worst enemy. I think there are some plants that are poisonous, spiky, gaseous. I think the worst ones are the ones that throw spikes out when you're next to them. I think they pretty much are instant kill, but you have to be dumb not to see that that's there. Hey, it's that plant. Especially the first time you get stuck by one, it's like, well, I'm never going next to those again. Some things burp out poison at you, and you got to run away from the poison, but that's easier to avoid. And a lot of them just explode when you're too close to them. So if you can dig out from under them, there's no weapons in the game. It's a very non-violent game. I say that, but there's dynamite and fireworks, but they're not really real weapons. There aren't any I shoot you weapons. There's also not any like I'm going to eat you monsters or space pirates or anything like that. There's no space. What I mean is there are space shuttles in the game that go up, orbit your planet, look for another planet, then you can go to that planet, orbit that planet, look for one of the few configured means to land on that planet, then you land on that planet and you start base building on that planet. Base building isn't even real base building. There's no blocks. You can't make ceilings, floors, walls. You basically just make platforms. And the platforms hold objects that are like machines that do research, build things, extract things, etc. Very, very minimalistic kind of game, really. But but the complexity comes out later on once you've built these huge things and you've discovered these amazing things and you discover the storyline and you discover that makes the Astroneer world. Empyrion is more of a actual survival game, galactic survival, and yeah, it's in the name, galactic survival. All right, it's a survival space game. Empyrion's got like a really great first-person thing going on for it, where first-person shooter, you get weapons. Mobs come after you, all kinds of little weird aliens and dinosaurs and stuff. You start either on a kind of a deserty planet with very little atmosphere, or you are on a Earth-like planet. Those are, I think, the 2 that you can select for. There might be more options now than there used to be, but a long time ago, it used to just be you could be on a desert planet or an Earth-like planet. Now that you don't start with a helmet, I think the desert planet has minimal oxygen. I don't remember. But there's also weather. You have to be in shelter when it's like really cold or have a heater. The game starts you off with a really great tutorial. It's really probably my favorite of all these space games. Maybe there's a lot to be had from the other games, but this is really the one that I probably will end up playing if nobody else has anything to say about it. But I would really beg you to, if you see this, suggest anything on my list. And that doesn't just include these guys. You can go ahead and say, no, you really need to play this instead, and give me a good reason why, and I'll probably go do that. Kerbal Space Program is basically a NASA simulation with cute green dudes. Kerbals from Kerbin, which is Earth, in a different universe, apparently, are the little pilots, scientists, and engineers that make it possible to learn more about the Kerbin system. Kerbin has 2 moons, so it's not exactly like Earth, but that's 2 potentials to discover. There's no enemies, there's no weapons. Kerbals don't poop, they don't pee, they don't eat, as far as I know. So there's no life support necessary unless you get a mod for it. There's a lot of really good mods that make the game really interesting to play. It is an interesting game to play for the physics and the science behind it. There's some good science that helps to kind of help you understand how orbital mechanics work, how to actually get a rocket out of the the pull of gravity of the planet, which takes a tremendous amount of energy. But you'd also be surprised how much energy you waste in going in one direction with your thrusters on completely all the time. There's actually a better way to navigate space. But that's it. It's basically a NASA simulator. You make satellites, you make rovers, you make planes, you make shuttles and rockets. And you try to do the space thing. And a lot of it's going to be useful only in the career or science modes of the game. The sandbox mode doesn't give you anything in return for building a rocket, putting it out in outer space. There's not much you can do with it. You can't collect science and have it mean anything. You can't make money and have it mean anything. So you're basically just, sandbox. There needs to be an intermediary, but I think science was their answer to people griping about there needing to be an intermediate. One where you don't have to worry about spending money. You have infinite money basically in science mode, but in order to progress the tree, you have to get science points. And that's cool. That's fine. But like I said, there's a ton of space. There's no survival. There's no action. It's pretty much a toy box kind of situation. Unless you can find specific mods that kind of help you find a game that you can play. For me, it's the Kerbal attachment systems and Kerbal inventory systems, as well as the survivability stuff. Being able to put a base on another planet or something similar to it, and being able to actually create and launch and fuel vehicles from other planets or from other stations in space is really a necessity for me to make the game playable, to make it interesting for me. I need to be able to not just explore the galaxy or the solar system that you've got. Only one solar system, by the way. Empyrion has a solar system. Astroneer has a solar system. Kerbal Space Program has a solar system. Single solar system with a limited amount of planets, but they're still fun. No Man's Sky, on the other hand, I'm not going to get into the history of No Man's Sky. It's just take my word for it now. After a couple of years of being out, it is a very decent game. In fact, it is probably as close to the game they wanted to make as possible, I think. It's very good now. I would like to play some today. Maybe I will. I don't think I will record it, just so I can get to know it better. I know Empyrion well enough to feel good playing it, and I know Astroneer good enough to play it without being like, duh, what am I supposed to do? No Man's Sky, it's changed so much since the last time I played. I tried to play a little earlier, and I didn't know what I was doing with a new game. No Man's Sky has got most everything. You can't build your own ships like you can in Empyrion. In Empyrion, you can build your own ships. You can build small ships, big ships, bases, hovercrafts. That's it. You've got a bike you can ride. That's the first vehicle you ever make is a bike. You make it early game. And it's fun and it's fast, but it's not as fast as the other things. It's really nice. But No Man's Sky has a bunch of procedurally generated ships. And you'll have occasions where you'll find two ships that look exactly the same, but they've got different specifications on them. So, that's kind of disappointing. But also at the same time, it's like, I don't expect procedurally generated to always be like the holy grail of gameplay. In fact, a lot of times it's, instead of having procedurally generated things, let's just make a bunch of maps, that attach together in some way, shape, or form, and have that be the game. It's got space. It's got a whole galaxy, I guess, because your whole mission is to get from one place in the galaxy, randomly placed place in the galaxy, to the galactic core. And I don't know what's in the galactic core. We have to find that out. Like I said, the spaceships are pretty great. They look really neat. I like them. I like the art style. The game is beautiful. It's the most beautiful, graphically beautiful game on the list. But it's got problems. Like, I was playing it earlier, trying to figure out, like I said, a new game, and there was this bug, this really annoying bug that like kept flashing the screen that you have on the side that tells you what to do. It's all bling, 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 making really annoying noises, and I was like, that is a fucking bug. That is not gameplay. That's something they need to fix. And they just... As I was like making the video earlier for it, because I was making kind of a gameplay video for it earlier, it was just like I turn it off, and I look back at it, and it's all like, oh, there's an update. And it's probably the update to fix that problem. So that's good. Hey, trust me, they fix these things like right away. Hello Games has redeemed themselves as far as I'm concerned. Of course, I only paid $30 for the game because I always wait for games to go on sale, but whatever. Space Engineers. There is a game for you. It's very much like Empyrion as far as building goes, because it's got small ships and it's got large ships. You use large building segments to make the large ships and small building segments to make the small ships. You can even make rovers. You can make wheels. You can put wheels on either big or small craft. It doesn't matter. The vessel is, the way it works is decided by the parts you use, not by the type of core you put in it, like Empyrion. Empyrion has a core for each different type of thing you build, like a base, hovercraft, or a small shuttle, or a capital vessel. Space Engineers has no need for the cores. You just need to make sure that you maintain what's called the grid that it's on, which is kind of like a malleable chunk. Like most games that have large worlds that have to focus on only controlling one part of the world at a time when a player is in it, those are called chunks. And in this case, in Space Engineers, your ship is like your chunk. And as long as you put things on it correctly, it communicates with itself. Much like Empyrion. Empyrion has a lot of the same stuff going on. Space Engineers has a lot more factory stuff. It's got cargo belts, or cargo tubes. And in order to attach, you know, like your refinery that's taking all of your raw uranium and processing it into usable uranium, and to pump that into the reactor, it really requires a series of these conveyor belts connected to each other, and they are tubes. They're just like big old square tubes that go around and ship the stuff around. It's very complex. Space Engineers. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of actual kind of engineering thought to be put into the things you're making. Whereas in Empyrion, not so much. I mean, you basically select input and output containers for the stuff that you're making. You don't have any pipes. There's no high-end logistics that you have to worry about. But Space Engineers, you can spend a lot of time wanking around in Space Engineers. It's fun. But at the same time, it doesn't have hardly any AI whatsoever. So it's kind of Whereas Empyrion, tons of AI. No Man's Sky, tons of AI. Tons of monsters in No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky by far has the most flora and fauna of either of them. Empyrion has a lot of repeats and not as much variety as No Man's Sky, but No Man's Sky has a lot of the procedurally generated stuff. So that might be a good game too. No Man's Sky and Empyrion are sounding great. Space Engineers kind of sounds good too. Now, Starbound is a bit different than any of the other games on here in that it's 2D. It's like Terraria, which is, if you've never played Terraria, I can say it's like Minecraft and Metroid. And this is very much more Metroid than Terraria is, because it's a space-based game, and a lot of the stuff that the mods that you get for your character, there's a Maru, there's a thing that you can turn into a ball, and you can like spring with the ball. I don't think is there a bomb? I don't know if there's a bomb that you can drop while you're in ball form or not, but that would just be like, that's plagiarism. But no, it's very much the same types of power-ups and stuff you get in Metroid, except at the same time, there's also like, there is melee weapons. There's swords and fucking daggers, swords, hammers, axes, really good classic medieval type style items. In fact, depending on what alien race you pick, like you can pick humans, and I think a lot of their stuff is kind of based on the soldier aesthetic. Whereas if you pick the Florins, they're a race of meat-eating plant people. They're like plant people, and they eat meat. They're not cannibals, but they're carnivores. And their aesthetic is very jungly and shamanistic. And then there's an ape society whose aesthetic is like science and technology and modernism. And the apes live in a very dystopian society, whereas the humans actually came from, even though they're like very militaristic in their aesthetic, they kind of come from a more peaceful, futuristic sort of thing. Sort of, maybe, I don't know. There's a bunch of races with a bunch of different aesthetics. And the ones, if you want medieval, are the robots. There's a race of sentient robots, and what are they called? The glitch race, and they're very cute. They are medieval aesthetic. So when you find a planet that they inhabit, it's all medieval. There's castles, and they all dress medieval style, except they're robots. They're like classy looking tin can hitman robots. They're completely metal. Some of them have visors for eye things, and they're definitely mechanical looking. They don't look like they look like bipeds. That's about it. That's enough on that one. I'm sorry. See, that's another one. It's like, I don't know, Starbound I might want to play. It's been a while since I played it. I actually think there has been an update, a major update, since the last time I played. I played in October. That's a long time for me to play a game like that I like so much. And StarMade is Minecraft in space. Very simply put, Minecraft in space. Like, they took the Minecraft world, and instead of expanding it out into a beautiful Earth-like realm that goes on forever almost, they took it and put it into small planets, like, that you can see from your ship. And they're still considerable size, right? But with a big enough ship with a big enough harvesting engine on it, you can take out this planet down to its core, and then I think you destroy it. Which I'm not sure what the ramifications of that are, but yeah, you can completely destroy a planet. They're small enough too that it wouldn't be that big of a deal especially in multiplayer. And the game does have a very robust multiplayer. And that, in fact, it is probably on the bottom of my list of games that I would want to play unless I had multiplayer. If I had a good enough internet connection to both record, even stream, and play the game with other people. I have satellite internet, so it's almost impossible to play anything that has any real-time action whatsoever. Basically, I'd be floating around and some dude would be pelting me, and I'd be like trying to turn around and shoot him, and being able to shoot right at where he's at, or just in front of where he is and getting him, but not getting him because total lag. It is unplayable. After you've got it's about 3 seconds of lag on any given game. Even if the ping says it's 800 milliseconds, it's worse than that because of all the little loops and hops and jumps that satellite ISPs have to go through. They always con you into that 2-year contract. Don't do it. Don't do the contract. It's not worth it. Sometimes it is. Okay, what else? Nothing else. Those are the only games that I was going to do for space. Thank you. And goodbye.